Hey guys, welcome to Brutes Magoots, where today we are going to be swapping out the nut that I have on this Charvel hen rig that I've modified. This currently has the Lok-N-Roll compensated locking nut on here, and I hate it. I hate everything about it. The compensation is all off, and there's actually like little grooves for the like string guides in the nut itself, which is nice, but the problem is that even clamping it all the way down, I still get string movement. So if I use the bar or something and come back up, it's off 20 to 30 cents on some strings. It's pretty freaking crazy. So anyway, this has got to go. It's absolutely awful. I did a review on that if you want to see that. But I have this FUTone titanium nut that I was going to use on a project, and I hadn't figured out exactly what yet. So I'm going to put this on this guitar because it's an R3 nut for a 12-inch radius. This is a compound radius, so it's 12 to 16. So it's perfect for this application. We'll throw it on there and see what it does, if it's better, what kind of tonal changes it does. I'll do a before and after clean and dirty tone stuff to, you can assess for yourself if there's a positive or a negative impact. I imagine it's not going to be too much. I've done the titanium saddles from FUTone on here, and it's a little bit sharper pick attack initially, and that's about it. And then under high gain situations, it becomes even harder to discern. But it is just a little bit brighter, a little bit sharper initially, but as the string reens out, it kind of vanishes away. So not that significant of a tonal change. Definitely not all that they're hyped up to be, in my experience anyway. So we're just going to throw it on there and see what's like. We're going to jump into the studio so you can take a closer look at the nut itself and their machine work. And then I'll do a time-lapse install. I'm going to keep the same strings on here, so we won't have that variance on there. I'm just going to slack the strings, slide out the nut, slide in the new one, and see how it goes. On this Lok-N-Roll, I had to add like 0.8 millimeter shims underneath here to bump it up that height, and we'll see if I have to do that on this guy, or maybe it is just the right height altogether. I think the Lok-N-Roll is a little bit short to fit more applications, but I'm not really sure what what the thought process is there. To me, like, that would make the most sense, but I'm not going to speak for them. So anyway, let's jump right on in. All right, guys, so here is the nut from FUTone. You can see it is laser etched, a titanium R3 and an FUTone. It does come with all the screws to do a back mounting or a front mounting on there, depending on what kind of neck you have. On this guy, like, I am using the front screws, as the screws don't go through the back of my neck. And the machine work on here looks really good. Let's go ahead and pop these guys off. It does come with titanium screws as well. I'm going to take a look at one of these dudes. But it seems like really nice machine work going on here. And I will show you guys the stock Floyd nut that came on this guitar, which is not going to be anything special. It is just a general, very common R3 nut. So here is the stock one. You can see how strings are already starting to wear into the nut itself. And then here is the comparison between the two. I will say this is a lot heavier, and I feel like mass is an advantage as far as tone, especially if you want like a warmer tone. So I feel like this might be a little bit on the bright side. And we can see the difference in height here, which is pretty significant. So I will be likely having to do shims on this guy. Let's see how big a difference there are between the two. Let's do a comparison like that. A lot. That's a shoot, that's a lot. I don't know if I have no shims for that. But let's go ahead and do a time-lapse install and get this bad boy on. All right guys, so the install's done. It was fairly quick and easy. It does look good on there, I will say. I do like that titanium look. And then I had these titanium screws from FUTone, the gold ones, so I just reused those because I kind of like the mix of the gold and silver. Kind of breaks things up a bit. I had to shim it a full millimeter versus the Lok-N-Roll that was 0.8. So, you know, I guess they have the same mindset where they're going to go pretty short with it so that it fits a wide range of necks, and you can just shim it to where you need it. Other than that, like, everything went pretty good. I do really dislike tolerances like this. So these little string locks should go from point to point so they don't turn crooked in there, and I hate it when they do that because I feel like it pulls on a string and throws it out of tune when you tighten it down. So I'll ding them for that. There's no excuse for that not to be machined where it has tighter tolerances between these 2 points. You guys will notice that I don't use a string retainer bar on here. I don't like the looks of it, and I just tune it compensating because I know, like, once I lock this down, when this pushes on this point and it pulls it sharp, I know how to adjust for that, so I just do that. Having a bar on there does make life easier, but I just never like the way it looks, so I just got rid of it. So you will probably ding me and note that, but that's what I don't like to use. So I'll set this aside, and I did want to tell you guys about one other thing. And this is just a useful tool that I've had for a while, but I don't know if a lot of people know about it. But dude, this Music Nomad little gauge is freaking awesome. And it tells you exactly where you should be at for whatever application, whether you have bass or acoustic or electric or classic. It's super convenient and handy, and I absolutely love it. It makes life super easy and simple. So they're super cheap too. I'm not sponsored or anything like that. I'm just trying to give you guys a little tip. But I love this, and I definitely recommend using it and making things like this go so much quicker. right, guys, so that completes this video. I have not had a chance to compare the two, so I don't know yet. I imagine, though, it may be just a little bit brighter on the initial attack, and that's about it. And again, you're only going to notice this obviously on the open strings. Anything fretted, you're not going to, it's going to be taken out of the equation, obviously. But is it worth it? Probably not at like the $250 price point, or it's somewhere around there. I forgot what it is, but it's a lot of money. So probably not. It kind of depends what you want. To me, though, I don't know, not so much. Not saying it's a bad product. I mean, it's nicely done, it's nicely machined and stuff, but I just don't think that the value there is, if you're looking for like tone or whatever, you're not really going to see that much of a difference, especially like in a high gain situation. All that's negated, and also you can just like bring up the presence a little bit, and you can kind of get that sharpness or that attack back if that's what you are looking to do. Again, these are just my thoughts, though. The one thing I did notice about this when I was bolting it on is, at least on my neck, once I screwed it down, and that countersunk starts to like shift everything, the whole nut shifted down to the high E, about 1 millimeter or so, as far as off on my fretboard. So it's a little bit hanging out a little bit over here, and it's a little under over here. Now that could have everything to do with this neck and not the nut, but it's just something to keep an eye out for. What I'm going to do is, when I go into work, I'm going to put this on the end mill, and I'm going to shift over those two mounting screws and their countersinks over about 1 millimeter, so that way when I tighten it down, I can kind of control where it's getting tightened to, and I can kind of bring things over, especially because this Henrik neck has has fairly large rolled edges on it, and it doesn't leave me with a whole lot of lip here is on the fret itself before it wants to pull off the edge of the fret. So I'm just going to move this up just 1 millimeter or so, and that'll get me kind of what I'm looking for. But overall, you guys let me know what you think of this. I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are, and what you hear in the video. Again, everything is the same. The only thing I did was just replace the nut. Mic is in the same location, same volume, same patches and everything like that, and then same strings. Only thing changed is the nut between the comparison videos. So you let me know what you think, and until next time, I will see you guys later.